So shall we do meditation today? Om Pratar Smarami Hridi Samsphuratmattatvam Satchit Sukham Paramahams Gatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptam Abaiti Nityam Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangaha. I meditate upon the distinction between Turiya, the Sakshi, and my status as a waker, dreamer, and the sleeper. I meditate in the waking state starting with the waking state. I see that I am an observing person, thinking, witnessing, observing, making decisions, learning, these are the characteristics of a waking person given the name in Shastra Vishwa. Vishwa in addition to doing things, walking, eating, and so on, the Vishwa is an observing person. Always thinking, observing, deciding. I am a thinker. I am a person. I am a male. So old. Taking the experiences of the world and observing them. Our Shastra says, is that your final status? Is that who you really are? Shastra says, please observe that you as a waking person are not always a waking person. The moment you go to sleep, your status as a thinker, observer, a decider, and so on, disappears. From the sleep, you reappear as a dreaming person. As a dreamer, again, you are a thinker, observer, making choices, deciding, evaluating yourself. I am happy, I am not happy. Just like you were as the waking person. Shastra gives a name to the dreamer called Taijasa. So you are not always Vishwa. So the Vishwa is not the final person, the real person. because you are sometimes not Vishwa. You are Tejasa. And even Tejasa is not the final state. When you are in deep sleep, you are not a thinker, you are not observer, you are not making any choices, you are not evaluating yourself, you just are. Totally engulfed in ignorance and darkness. Devoid of any personality. Shastra terms this person Pragyaha. I meditate on the distinction between the changing states of myself as Vishwa, as Tejasa, and as Pragyaha. And see that all three of them are powered by Turiya, the Sakshi. The Sakshi has the ability to reflect itself as Vishwa without changing. It sees its reflection as Vishwa. It can give up its reflection as a Vishwa and take up an entirely new reflection called Pragya. And it can give up the reflection called Taijasaha, take up a very faint reflection called Pragya. All the time in the entire circle of these roles, the turiya does not change. May I reflect upon the distinction between myself as a Vishwa, a Jiva, and myself as Turiya. As Turiya, I do not change. As Vishwa, I change. I am continuously changing, and every day, every night, I disappear. I reflect upon this distinction between the reality, the Satyam that I am as a Turiya, and a role that I play as a Jiva. The Jiva, the Vishwa, the person that I am, is merely a reflection. I meditate upon the distinction between Turiya and its reflections, namely Jiva, Taijasa, and Pragya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्त्वनिवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः। नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। यश्छन्दसा वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया आस्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणगुं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। आप्यायन्तु मम अङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुः श्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकरोत् माहं ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविर्महेधि वेदस्य मानि ईस्थः Shrutam me ma prahasihi anenaditena ahoratran sandadhami ritam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmam avatu tadvaktaram avatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram Om Shanti 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 Bhadram no apivataya manaha Om Shanti 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 Bhadram karnebhihi shrunuyama devaha Bhadram pashyema akshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangaistuštuvagum sastanubhihi Vyashema devahitanyadayuhu Swasti na indro vriddhishavaha Swasti nah pusha vishvavedaha Swasti nastarksho arishtanemihi Swasti no brihaspatir dadhatu Om Shanti 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 Yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam Yo vai vedamscha prahinoti tasmai tamhadevamatma buddhi prakasham mumukshur vai sharanamaham prapadye Om Shanti 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 Okay, so let's continue on with the Alata Shanti Prakaranam, the fourth chapter of the Karika. So, where we were in the last class is that Gaudapadacharya is summarizing the key concepts of the second section of the fourth chapter. And the second section of the fourth chapter consists of a deeper understanding of the differences and the similarities between the waking state and the dream state. Pardon me. And the reason this is necessary is because in the final stages of our understanding about ourselves, as we grow closer to moksha, towards total freedom from all problems in my life, this kind of analysis is the most important. Everything else that you do in terms of an understanding between Atma, Anatma and all those kinds of things are necessary as a foundation, as a background. But in the final analysis, when you put it all together, what we have to see is that the waking state is not any different from a dream state. And the reason why this is so useful is because you can now extend the lessons from a dream state onto the waking state. As we have seen before, it's nothing new that I'm giving you. I'm just revising what we have already done. In the sense that the nature of the dream state is that it gives you an experience, but it disappears. So similarly to that, see, we don't have the same idea about the waking state. About waking state means myself as a human being. Who am I? Where am I going? And all that. This is what a waking state is. So I don't have the same idea about myself as I do about the dream. Why not? Because the dream, sure, I had some experience and so on, but it disappeared. But this one is not disappearing. I am here and I don't know how long I'm going to be here, and I am not going anywhere, and my life is some good things, some bad things, and it's going to end at some point in time. This is my understanding of myself as a waker, as a Vishwa. So the Shastra says that this is not a correct assessment of yourself. Not a correct assessment. The better assessment, the correct assessment is just like you have the dream experience, you also have the same lessons to be applied to the Jagrata Avastha, to the waking state. In the sense that just like the dream experience gives you a certain experience, a certain frightening experience at times, worried experience at times, this also gives you the same kind of experience, but it's going to end. And now the question is, how is it going to end? What does it really take? Dream state is very natural. I don't have to do anything. It kind of gives me a sample. It's a lingam. It gives me a sample and then I don't have to do anything. I get out of it. It's not as though I decide to. Sometimes I actually decide to do it, because sometimes if the dream becomes very painful, if it has a lot of frightening moments or so on, then the very frightful experience wakes me up. So I can instigate it to a slight degree, but by and large, the dream state goes by itself. But how is this going to go? How is the waking state going to go? So the Shastra says the waking state will go the moment you grasp the truth that it is like the dream state. This is what you have to keep thinking. You have to just keep, and so this is an interesting thing, because one thing we should think about. So there is a word. In fact, I think we'll go into that sometime. It is said at various places in the Shastra that the best sadhana, the best sadhana means to, how do I understand that this is just a dream? How? What means do I have? So here the Shastra says that the means you have are quite well defined. So follow it. And so here we have the sadhana shatka sampatti, viveka, vairagya, samadhanam, titiksha, etc., like that, and so on. So you keep on, because your mind is at this point. So this is an interesting thing. I'll just develop this theme for a few minutes before going forward. We have a general ability to think. Okay? So we are thinkers, as we were saying in the meditation. We are thinkers. We think about things. We think about the coronavirus and all the protests that are going on, the upcoming elections. We have many ideas about that. And we have ideas about ourselves, our bodies, minds, and so on. So this is a general thinking. Now there is a special thinking that we need to do. We need to do a special thinking. So this is what is called Vichara. So here Swami Maheshananji in the 12th chapter of the Panchadashi explains this in great depth. And so sometimes we should really just take that section. Panchadashi is just a treasure, I think, honestly, especially done by Swami Maheshananji, not by others. I've not seen the jewels of the ocean of Panchadashi being brought out to the surface by anyone else that I'm aware of. There may be. I'm not saying that I am the final authority. I have not seen. But Swami Maheshananji keeps bringing out jewels from the ocean of Panchadashi in marvelous ways. So here this thought about Vichara. So this combination of Swami Vidyaranya and Swami Maheshananji is just absolutely a amritam for me, honestly. I just got lost in it. Wow, amazing. So there Swami Maheshananji and Swami Vidyaranya both say, Swami Vidyaranya basically and Swami Maheshananji is simply explaining it, that the best sadhana is Vichara. And so this is given in the Shastra also. It's not as though they're coming up with their own ideas. Their contribution is that they can actually pick out the key portions from the Shastra and highlight it. And so what the Shastra also says is that really the best sadhana, the final sadhana is Vichara. Okay? So let me develop this theme a little bit before going back to the Karika. So the Vichara means not a general thinking that you and I normally do. The whole day we are thinking about different things, what to cook, do I have enough gas, do I have to get some groceries, all those kinds of things is a general thinking. But Vichara, and actually Swami Maheshananji, I think that's his contribution, he divides the word Vichara into its basic root, etymological meaning, and also the enhancement. So Vichara means Vi plus Chara. So Chara means to go. So this is where the Chalanam, Chala, in Hindi for example, Chala means that the gait, how a person walks. So how a person proceeds is called Chala or Chara. So it's called Chara means to make some progress. Vichara means Visheshena Chara. That means, so this is the main thing I want to now point out. It means it is not a general thinking that you yourself are doing, but a thinking which is based on the suggestions of the Shastra. The Shastrik Vichara, Shastrik Chara is Vichara. Okay, so this is one thing. Now let's develop this even more. It is said, again, I'm just because I've been reading that section in the 12th chapter recently, and so those ideas are very fresh in my mind. Very fascinating, something that I had not thought about, no one had explained this to me before, is that if you look at Vedas, the teaching of the Vedas, only Vedas, no other scriptures or anything. This is the Vedic, this is Vedas, not just Vedanta but Vedas, has a quality of giving you pramana, proof that is not available someplace else. So this is what's called Shabda Pramana. Now, in general, there is Shabda Pramana. So all the value of words is just amazing. We're going to actually discuss this in the Purusha Suktam in the next class on Tuesday. This is the main topic of the first 4 verses of Purusha Suktam, where it is said that it is possible. See, normally the pramanas are pratyaksha, anumana. Your eyes are seeing something and you say, yes, this is I'm looking at a camera. So the eyes are saying, yeah, this is a camera. And then the mind says, yeah, camera. Yeah, this is a camera. So this is a pramana. Yeah, it doesn't look like an elephant to me. It looks like a camera. So this is pramana from pratyaksha. Then anumana, etc., all those things. One of the pramanas is Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana. So Shabda Pramana means the ability for words to reveal something which pratyaksha doesn't do. Like, for instance, if you have something in the room, or one person, let's look at a person. You go to a class or something and there's a lot of people sitting there. One of them sitting next to you happens to be the mayor of San Jose. I think his name is Licardo or something. Now it's very possible that you never really knew him, never saw the picture of him. But someone walks up, shakes hand with him, does namaste to him, if he's doing namaste these days with the coronavirus, and says, Mr. Licardo, wonderful to see you. And then he turns to me and he says, you know who he is, right? He's the mayor. You've been sitting next to the mayor for the last 1 hour, both listening to some lecture. You didn't realize that he's a big guy. He's the mayor of the city. And so this is the power of words. You see, you can be seeing something but not be aware of it until somebody explains who that person is. So this is called Shabda Pramana. Okay? So let's proceed with that. Vedas is Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana. It is words. And words that, so now very interestingly, this is the part that no one had explained to me. The Vedas are divided between, as you know, Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. So the Purva Mimamsa is the Karma Kanda and Upasana Kanda. So sometimes Upasana Kanda is also clubbed in with the Karma Kanda, or sometimes it can be a separate one, 3 of them. But generally speaking, Karma is Sharirika Karma and Upasana is Manasika Karma. So both of them are Karma. So they're based on Karma. So let's say this is called the Purva Mimamsa. And then you have the Uttara Mimamsa, which is Jnana Kanda. This is what we are studying, the Vedanta. Now, what was pointed out was that the Vedas talk about truth which is not obvious to us. This is what is called revelation. It reveals the truth that is not obvious. We cannot figure it out on our own. No way. No way. This is also signified by the word apurva. Purva means that there is no prior knowledge of that at all. It's something brand new way of looking at things. So now here's the thing. The Purva Mimamsa portion, which is also based on Vedic shabdas, words, sentences, mantras, cannot be verified. Or I would say even modified, not a question of verified or not. It doesn't seem logical. Doesn't seem logical, but it is true. Now, recently, I think you may have heard, I forget who was there in India, but I think this is now I think I've heard it 2 or 3 times, that when a puja is done and all the preparations are correctly done, all the vidhis and all the various yajnas, the preparation for it, the implementation of it is correctly done, then there is a mirror which is highlighting everything, which is kept on a side, breaks. Recently somebody, I think it was either Chawla or Zarina or one of the people had just told me that yes, this has happened. Swami Viditatmananda has seen this. Now where is the logic for this? Tell me. This is called Shabda Pramana. The Vedas say, listen. So I came back and saying cannot be verified. That's not completely true. The next life cannot be verified, but there are occasions in this life where it can be verified, like the mirror breaks. Or Swami Dayananji has said, I remember he saying it quite a few times, that he has seen a puja done in the middle of a drought for rainwater to come, and he has seen it raining. The clouds form. Not all over, but just in that area. The clouds form and the rains come. Now where is the logic for that? By doing mantras or some Vedic mantras, then this can be done. So this is what is called Shastra Pramana. Shastra Pramana means it happens for sure. Now here is the thing, and this is to close off this whole topic, because you must be wondering where am I going with this. Here's the thing. Swami Vidyaranya says there is a very interesting distinction between Karmakanda and Jnanakanda. How is it an interesting distinction? In the Karmakanda, even though the Vedic mantras are pramana, generally you cannot either use logic or an experience. In the case of the mirror breaking, yes, it's an experience, I admit. But generally, I would say 90% of the Vedic mantras are for the next life. And we'd have no idea whether that's going to happen or not. They do happen. You can go to Swarga if you do the right mantras and you do the right pujas and so on. But no one can say, okay, you know what? This happened. This is what I did last time, because you are a different person altogether. You cannot say that. So in the Purva Mimamsa, the earlier part of the Vedas, even though it is a pramana, it cannot be either logically proved or experienced directly. But when it comes to the Uttara Mimamsa, this is totally different. How? In the Uttara Mimamsa, Vedanta, Jnanakanda, what the Vedas are saying can be verified and it is logical. It's a very big distinction between them. And in order to verify and to experience the unlikely explanation of what's going on by the Vedas, unlikely meaning that I think that I'm a limited person, and the Vedas say you're not a limited person. I can't believe it. I can't even understand that at first. The Vedas say, do Vichara. So what it means is, this is why it is said, we need to really grasp this very well, is that all the other preparatory steps that we are doing of Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, Titiksha, and all those kinds of things, Mumukshutvam, Samadhanam, etc., are good. Those are building blocks. But the final sadhana is Vichara. And Vichara, to close off this very long dissertation that I went through, Vichara means thinking not independently but along the lines suggested by the Shastra. This is what is called Vichara. And I would say that if there is an English word that translates this word Vichara, which is I think a good way to do that, is the word contemplation. So you can even really register that in your mind for those of you that want to look at it from an English perspective, is that there is a distinction between general thinking and contemplation. And the contemplation is not quite meditation. So it is slightly different. But in the direction of meditation, it is called contemplation. And contemplation here, to finish off this definition, is Vichara, which means that the Vedic pramana becomes effective if I think along the lines like the Vedas are suggesting. And so to close off that topic, what it means is that you will not wake up, because the whole idea was that from the dream I wake up automatically. How do I wake up from the waking state to Turiya? What do I do? Because I can't seem to do that, because until I do, this seems to be going on and on and on. So if this has to become like the dream, then what is the method for me to see that this is like the dream? Vichara. And the Shastra says, please, I know in the beginning it looks very unlikely, but continue to pursue the transfer of the qualities of dream onto the waking state. Continue. It's against the grain. This is the word dhira comes in. So the dhira means both wisdom as well as stubbornness. Yes, I will. So this is the method called Vichara. So Vichara is the best sadhana, and your mind initially will resist it and say, "What a second, the dream is different and the waking state is different." You tend to justify the differences. Not you, I'm just talking about we are so involved in pointing out the differences between the dream and the waking state. And the Shastra says, no, don't go there. That's very natural. So this is the word which is called avicharita siddham dvaitam. Avicharita siddham dvaitam means, we've done this before, means that the sense of limitation, dvaitam means a sense of limitation, that I am just this much, everybody else is different from me, and so on. So the sense of duality, Dvaitam, is siddham by avichara. It is non-thinking, not vichara, not general thinking, but not doing vichara. And vicharam na sahate. That's another advice given by the Shastra. Vicharam na sahate means that if you continue to pursue this line of thinking, it will finally yield to your understanding. And you will begin to see that the Jagrata Avastha, the waking state, is indeed like the dream state. Anyway, this is a very long detour that we took, but relevant to the topic and highlighting the following fact. So if I leave you with these suggestions or words and advice is, may we become adept at contemplation. And contemplation means vichara. Vichara means visheshena chara, means thinking along the lines of what the Shastra is saying, what Vedas are saying. And why is that? Because in the Uttara Mimamsa, in the Jnana Kanda, even though it is a pramana, it is possible to look at it from a logical and experiential standpoint. So the Shruti, Yukti and Anubhava, all three of them are possible. In the Purva Mimamsa, this is not the case. You just have to take the word for it and just do it. And there's no logic and there's no explanation or anything. It is just some vidhi given to you. Beautiful. Excellent distinction. I was not aware of that really until this. I mean, I was aware of it in general, but to be put into this kind of an analysis by Swami Vidyaranya in the Panchadashi, 12th chapter, which is in the Brahmananda section, is just marvelous. Okay. So, what it means is that we were closing the loop, that Gaudapadacharya ji is summarizing the second section, which is devoted to doing vichara. And so it has to be done slowly. So in the Advaita Prakaranam and Vaithatya Prakaranam and so on, it's not as though this is a brand new topic that has never been done before, but you go a little deeper into it. And then here, and I think another good thing about the second section to point out, which we did last week also, so nothing new. Here, Swami Gaudapadacharya ji has to first do the section 1 of the Alata Shanti Prakaranam, which is to prove that there is no real creation at all. It is like a dream that just comes up all of a sudden. And so because that has to be proven first, having proven that, now we take another deeper look into the comparison between the Jagrata Avastha and the Dream Avastha. Beautiful. That depth of analysis was not done before, for a good reason, because it has to be done in a very gradual way. But having done that, now we are able to look at the distinction between these two states in a little deeper way, which is what he's doing. And so now the second section is closing, and we are now summarizing that, but there's still some more verses to do, and I will highlight them. So let's go on to this. So now we come to verse number 42 of the Alata Shanti Prakaranam. So in the next 2-3 verses, I'm actually going to look at the words in the verses themselves. We have not been doing that, as you know. We have just been looking at the concepts but not going through. But in 42, 43, 44 and 45, we may look at some of the specific words used in the Karika. So in number 42, he says, Upalambhat samacharat astitva vastutva vadinam jatistu deshita buddhaihi ajatehe srata trasatam sada. Ajatehe trasatam sada. Okay, so now what it says is, and I'm going to read the English translation. I won't go through each word separately, only when it's necessary. So the English translation here by Swami Paramarthananda is, of the verse number 42, is, creation is taught by the wise, buddhaihi deshita jatihi. So the creation is taught by the wise for those who are ever afraid of the birthless reality. Ajatehe sada trasatam. Ajatehe means one which is never born. Sada trasatam means the who are scared of it. We'll explain this. What do you mean by scared of it? This is a very funny thing, Sichwai. This is true also. I am actually scared of understanding my real reality that I am. For a reason, I'll tell you that in a minute. So this verse has two important things to point out. One is that there is fear amongst people to look at the sakshitvam of myself. This is number one concept. I haven't explained it, but I'm just giving you the list of concepts. The second one is why that is the case. So those words are used in the Upalambhat and Samacharat. So those are in the fifth case. The fifth case is always in Sanskritam. The fifth case is used as a cause. So the cause is Ajatehe Trasatam, for those who are scared. And why are they scared? Because of Upalambhat Samacharat. Okay, so these are the words to be used. Now let's look at what it means and so on. So again, this requires quite a bit of explanation. I'm going to also bring in the similar kind of explanation given in the Panchadashi. So I'll bring that up and so on. I'll bring that up and then go on from there. So Swami Vidyaranya says that what happens is that we are used to evaluating ourselves as a visible person. Visible person. Visible being means some which can be experienced. I am someone. So this gives me some comfort, if I can use the word comfort, relative comfort. Sometimes I'm uncomfortable, that's a different thing. But the fact that I am someone, it gives me certain solace that I have a certain place in the world. I am someone. I may not be completely happy with it. Sometimes I'm accepted by others. Sometimes I am not. Sometimes I feel significant. Sometimes I feel insignificant. Be that as it may, I'm a working, living human being. This gives me comfort. Okay? And all the changes that occur, like I'm a thinker, I'm a dreamer, I'm aware of that. Yeah, this is what I am. But I am with someone. In other words, I have a certain identity which is visible to everyone, to me also. Okay? And so I have the experience of being me. See, this is a good way to look at it. Because somebody can say, who are you? Are you there? And he says, yes, I'm here. This is. How do you know? This is my experience. I am here. What do you mean? So this is done by the word upalambhat. Upalambhat means that I am someone. Then, I'm looking at the clock because I want to really complete this. I may not be able to do all the 45, but at least this whole concept I want to complete today, and I think I will be able to. This is a very important thing to look at it. So the second thing is that there seems to be a structure to it. In other words, so this is, I'll explain this word structure and bring in Swami Dayanandji's ideas on this, and also Swami Paramarthananda's interpretation of that, also couple it with Swami Vidyaranya. So all this part is, there is a certain structure to my life. So this is what is called samacharat. So this word samacharat, yeah, it's interesting. So if you look at the English translation by Swami Paramarthananda, samachara means an orderly behavior. It's a good translation. An orderly behavior. Okay? So two things to be talked about here. So let me see which one I want to go first. Let me go into the fear aspect of it, trasatam. Okay, and the two are connected, but let me highlight the fear part. So Swami Vidyaranya and Swami Maheshanandji explain this as the following way. That I am quite comfortable in being someone. Now, being someone cannot be done until you embrace limitation. Isn't it? So our example of the room space and the total space is a good one. That should be kept in mind as we go through this. So as a room space, I have some personality, certain role. So role, connection. Like, supposing you are part of a big house. You are in this room. So if this room has some awareness, self-awareness, it will say, okay, I'm sitting in this room where the classroom is being broadcast. It has a TV and a few other things and so on. It used to have, is just for your information, this when my wife and I built this home, our kids were quite small, and I also used to sometimes play these billiard, pool, with so on. So we thought, it will be nice to have a pool table here. And so we actually made this room the dimensions to have a pool table in the middle. My two sons were young and I used to spend time with them, playing pool with them and so on. Then they grew up and left. And I don't have any idea, I don't have any interest in playing pool by itself and so on. So we took the pool table out. Gosh, all the things that one does through in life, we spent so much time buying the pool table, installing it was so heavy, this, that, or the other. Then we had to sell it and give it away or something, and then it had to be, now it is being transferred into a media room, is what happens. Anyway, so this is a media room. If someone has this awareness, he says, I'm a media room. Oh really, you are a media room? Yes. I am right next to the living room and the dining room and the entryway. So I have a certain connection. So exactly the same way, we also feel that I'm a person. I'm a person. And I have some connections. I have a spouse, I have kids, I have a family. Not everything is just perfect or anything, but at least I am there. Now comes along Shastra. And Shastra says you have to give up all those associations in order to get the truth about yourself. What? Yes. Really? No, you don't have any, because the Shastra says that you are not a room space, you are space. So here's the interesting thing. In order for me to have an identity as a person that I can connect and so on, I have to be limited. Swami Dayananda used to say this all the time. He says it's a very bad bargain. You have accepted your role as a limited person just because you want to be comfortable. The fact of the matter is that if you are willing to give it up, you become unlimited. So this is where the fear comes in. And this is what is articulated so well in the 12th chapter of the Panchadashi. Swami Maheshandaji explains this so well. He says, listen, people do not want to be someone who is unlimited. Because they are feared. What do you mean by unlimited? So the Shastra says, listen, stay with me. I'll explain what the advantages and disadvantages are of. There's no disadvantages, only advantages of being unlimited. But get over your fear. And people say, well, I'm not so sure. Why? Because I like having a visible identity. And being a Sakshi means I don't have a visible identity. I have an identity, but it's not visible. This is the main reason for this verse. Beautiful verse. This is Gaudapadachariji's verse. He says, Upalambhat samacharat astitva vastuvadinam jatistu deshita buddhaihi ajatehe trasatam. Sada trasata. He says you have to please get over this. Get over this. It's something like, I was just thinking about it, that a parent might tell the child, and this actually does happen, go to the room downstairs and you will find something, I bought something for you, it's a gift, and then I had it in the room downstairs. This is that at night time. So so the young child comes in and says, no, but it's so dark, I can't go there. He says, no, just go there, it's there, it's okay. You can find a switch and turn it on. I can't find the switch. And even though I want the gift, I'm afraid to go into the dark. There's no reason to be afraid, but I'm afraid of dark. So I don't even venture there. That's the word I was looking for. You can't even venture. Similarly is the situation here. Shastra says, please give up all these things and then you will find total freedom. I don't know if I can do that. This is the beautiful verse that explains this, and this is very true. So in doing the Vichara, I must be brave enough to really give up my visible identity. Okay, now one other thing, and I think then we are done with this part of it, and I think we can just wrap up because there's some more things to talk about, but I'll have to postpone it. As usual, we took a long time in having a detour about Vichara and so on. Another thing is this word called Samacharat. So this word Samacharat, here Swami Paramarthananda So Paramarthananda has said that this is a very important thing we will probably complete, or maybe I can highlight it, we won't be able to complete it. So Swami Paramarthananda says that in finding my identity as a Sakshi, there are two possible powerful obstacles to get over. The first obstacle is that the world seems so real to me. So, what are the elements of the seeming reality? So, those are Upalambhat Samacharat. Upalambhat means that it is experienced. Hey, I'm touching. This is me. What do you mean that I'm not there? This is not possible. How can you say that? This is called experience. The second one is, Swami Paramarthananda says, transactions and utility. So he puts all three of them, which is experience, transactions, and utility, and he calls it, as he's very fond of doing in this, called ETU. So the world has ETU. And I'll complete this next time. I won't really spend a lot of time on this, but I do want to explain one thing which I think even has a slight going beyond what Swami Paramarthananda was saying. And so he's calling it as a utility. But I am going to go back to Swami Dayananji's explanation of this, which is amplified by Swami Vidyaranya and Swami Maheshananda. So those are very similar, which is the word Samacharat. So Samacharat means, Achara means a way of doing things. You know, like attitude. Sometimes you'll say, or just some transactions, achara. That the way I don't like his, this is done in Hindi also and some of the other vernacular languages. I don't like that person's achara, means his personality, his way of approaching things is called achara. Samachara means one which is very well done. An achara which is very, it has a lot of reality to it, and it is extremely well done. So this is the point that I want to make. The reason we have difficulty in giving up the world is the following. And this is the explanation for Samachara that Swami Dayananji had given, and also given by Swami Vidyaranya. Same thing, is the following. I have a hard time believing that this world is not real when it is behaving in such scientific, orderly fashion. This is the main thing. This is the meaning of the word samachara. Why I'll go even beyond what Swami Paramarthananda has pointed out, which is utility. I think it's even more utility, more than the utility. It means that it is functions so well. Because, the water boils at the same temperature, no matter where you are. The laws of physics, the laws of coronavirus are all over. So this is what is called samachara, means that it seems to have certain orderliness to it. And how can something which has such orderliness to it be false? This is one of the main reasons why we have difficulty in giving up our identity and obtaining an identity where I don't really think of it as reality. This is just make-believe. I have a hard time doing that. So this is the contemplation. And the Shastra helps you with it. It says, no, I know you're thinking like that. I know you're thinking like that. So this section of the teaching by Gaudapadacharya ji is so beautifully done that, listen, I know you are scared of adopting an identity which is not visible. I know you're scared of giving up the world because you experience it and you have a certain respect for its orderliness, for samachara. Nevertheless, it's not real. And as I was saying, I think at the last class also, that just because a jewelry looks very well made doesn't mean that it is real. And so you have to really go into the very essence of reality rather than saying, yeah, no, I know, but it looks real. I know it looks real, but doesn't mean that it is real. So with that, I will wind up today's class and continue on this. Last time I thought that we would finish all this today and perhaps go to the Alata Shanti, but that's not happening. And I hope this was useful, and we'll continue to not be pressed for time. We have to just look at things as they are. So with that, I'll close today's class. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaah Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Gishe Desho Yam Kshovarahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Well, I don't know about you, but this 1 hour passes very quickly. I guess I don't know whether for the speaker it's always the case. I always fall short of time. I thought that I'll be able to do more, but yeah, very quickly. I didn't realize how quickly the hour go away. All right, let's see if you have any questions. Okay. I don't know whether for the speaker when it is behaving okay. So Shanti Kumar asked, is Vichara and Mononym the same? Some similarity, but not the same. So, yes, I would say I'm trying to see what the differences are. So I think you can say that they are pretty close. What I would say is that Vichara means a broader, it has a broader scale than Mononym. When I say a broader scale, what it means is that your entire way of looking at things. So Vichara would also include, as you know, the three main elements of our life are the Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. Those are the three things. And what is the connection between them? What are the dependencies, and so on. This topic will come up in more detail next class. So just thinking about all of them. So here, okay, so I think I can now see the differences between there are some differences between Mononym and Vichara. So Vichara is a general way of looking at things in keeping with what the Shastra is telling us about the relationship between Jiva and Jagat and Ishvara and so on and so forth. Also, for example, this goes to the explanation of the word prakriya. So there is a important word in Shastra called prakriya. So prakriya means a method of approaching this viveka. So this is a method, and so there are 2 or 3 main methods and lots of subsidiary methods. The 2 main are the Panchakosha method. Panchakosha method, which is that you are not the Annamaya Kosha, you are not the Pranamaya, like that. So this is given in Taittiriya Upanishad and elsewhere. So this is called the Kosha way of approaching. So you have to do Vichara along those lines. Okay, this is one Prakriya. There is another Prakriya which is given in the Mandukya, which we did here. And that is the Prakriya of what is called Avastha-traya Prakriya. That these 3 avasthas, 3 states, are different from who you are, which is Turiya. So this is called Avastha-traya Prakriya. The first one was called Kosha Prakriya. So you have to be familiar with what the Avastha-traya Prakriya is, what is the method of doing it, and so on. So the explanation of all these, so this is all part of Shravanam actually. I would say this, yeah, this is interesting. I think Vichara is part of Shravanam. It kind of spans both Shravanam and Mononym. But one leg is definitely in Shravanam, in the sense that I am not quite sure how to analyze my life And the Shastra says the way to analyze your life is through Panchakosha Viveka or through Avasthatraya Viveka. And so you have to look along those lines, because I'm not used to looking at it that way. I'm only used to looking at what's for dinner tonight and so on and so forth. But if you look at your whole life from this standpoint, then this is called Vichara. Mananam, on the other hand, is a more specific Vichara, which is involved in why is it that the Shastra is very clear to me, but my experiences completely belie it. How can I bridge the gap between them? So Mananam is more specific to that, whereas Vichara is more general in terms of understanding what the Shastra is saying. That would be my take on it. Shantikumar also says, it's an obvious experience that we are comfortable with what we are or have and fear of unknown to give up the current position. Yeah, that's true. It's generally true. But I think that this has a very special case, because one can argue that you are not going somewhere that you're unfamiliar with. You are you. How can you be afraid of yourself? And there the position is that you are, even though I am not different from who I am, but I'm more comfortable in being limited at this point. And I don't want to be unlimited because I will lose my ability to transact and so on and so forth. So this is the argument that the person can give. So this is a special kind of a fear in that sense. Lichi says, looking forward to know how to get the ride of the identity with the fake world. This is so real to me, even though I know I should look at it as real. Yeah. So Lichi, this is exactly what we all have to do. We are at different stages, and it's not going to happen just like a snap of your finger. But if we have Shraddha towards the teaching, then slowly it percolates, and then I get to where I want to be. Yeah. Suvarna Banjara, to reach Triguna Titavastha. Triguna Titavastha. Yes. Yeah, so you're right. So Suvarna, I can now understand. You're saying, yes, the same thing is true, that I am not looking at avastha. Avastha means a state. So state means a temporary situation. I'm looking at who I really am, which doesn't have to be temporary. So it is Triguna Tatita Avastha, yes. Then Gajananam says, Namaskar, wouldn't Nididhyasanam also be form of Vichara? So Nididhyasanam, again to clarify, these are all shades of grey, if you may, but sometimes it's important to see the differences. So Nididhyasanam, I think, is more clearly distinguished from Vichara than Mananam is. Mananam is a little closer to Vichara. Nididhyasanam, as we have said before, is, and I think we use the word a little bit too lightly, let's do Nididhyasanam. It's not easy to... Nididhyasanam means you are pretty much clear about everything. You know exactly what it is. The way you're even when you're transacting, your identity is towards yourself as Brahman, not as a Jiva. But you don't behave as a Brahman because you're not used to understanding. All the old vasanas are overwhelming you, and the new language hasn't really taken hold. But the clarity is already there. There's nothing more to be done. You just have to sort of think about it. So Nididhyasanam is a much more advanced one where you can immediately get into an understanding the moment you get in, you're doing some meditation and so on. Vichara and Mononym are, you're still struggling. Don't have a complete picture. You have a lot of doubts, and so in that sense, they're different. All right, I think we need to wind it up so that I can take a little bit of rest and then get ready for the next class. And thank you all. We will see you next week. I should say something for next week. There is a big event happening in our house on Friday, and we have some things that are something personal altogether. There is a slight possibility that I may not be able to have a class on Saturday, but I will let you know for sure. If I don't say anything, there will be a class. So if there is not a class, then I will let you know as soon as possible. Okay? All right. So with that, namaskar to you, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.